think we can get started.
Okay, cool. So you guys, can you guys hear me?
Yep, sounds good. Oh, is everything okay? Okay, yes, looks
Okay.
good.
Good. We are perfect. So thank you so much for inviting me. So I really enjoy to be here today and talk about this particular topic, which is kind of like really interesting one for me to talk about, and I hope you get something from this talk. So my name is Henry Ruiz. I am Google developer expert in machine learning, and I am also PhD candidate in Texas A&M University, and I also work as a data scientist. And the idea today is just basically take you guys through like the an introduction about how to get started, how to kind of like working with open source, how to can generate impacts. You know, you pretty set in your career and you start working your projects and this kind of stuff. And open source could be like a really good platform for you to jump into industry jobs, or even like apply for academia or position if you guys want to keep going with your go for a master or a PhD. All of this kind of stuff could like somehow help. So please let me know at any point if you have any questions. So I don't know if you guys want to say something about the Google Developer Student Club or anything, or I can just start and right now.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay, awesome. So this is my information. You guys can get all my contacts and email and everything from my website, my blog. And I used to publish kind of often about data science, machine learning, deep learning, this kind of things. So I try to keep up there in my blog, and you guys probably can find some information there that could be interesting for you. Also, so I'm gonna start first discussing a little bit about my experience and how I end working in open source, and how actually open source helped me to end and landing into become a Google developer expert. You know, like this actually how I somehow like improve my visibility, and eventually like someone from Google just pick me up and say, hey, would you like to be a Google developer expert? And this was actually how that works. So I'm a PhD student. So I'm in my last semester. So I expected to graduate pretty soon. And I have been working in an intersectional project related with computer science, but with geophysics, analyzing ground penetrating radar. And this, I have been applying this into the agriculture context. So my PhD topic is actually developing and implementing algorithms to discover patterns and analyze geophysical data. And my PhD research areas are in signal processing, computer vision, machine learning, deep learning, remote sensing, geophysics tool, mathematical simulation, and electromagnetism. So basically like the field where I have been working on in the last 3 years. And so again, so my role here in the university is I am a data scientist, but at the same time I am finishing my PhD. And I am a Google developer expert since, I'm trying to remember, since 2021, like 2021, yeah, I guess so. It's 2 years ago, basically. And I'm an open source lover. You know, that this is why I'm really passionate about this specific topic, because I try to keep up contributing or developing tools that people can use, and And it's very cool when you develop something that can be useful for someone else. And this is mainly where we're gonna focus today in this talk. So this is some of the project that I have been working on. So I have been working trying to developing robotics platform to collect data in the field and implementing different machine learning and deep learning algorithms to analyze the data, extract information from that, and all of this kind of stuff. So something like that is really cool about computer science or like any engineering field is that you guys can apply your knowledge almost everywhere. You know, like so this is a really cool thing about like you know, like being a computer scientist or like engineering and know how to program, especially because you can develop tools, you can develop things that people can use, and somehow you can generate impact. So one of the really things that I love about working in the agriculture context, applying my knowledge in computer science, is because it's really nice to know that farmers or people somehow they are kind of use all of these tools, and they feel happy when they use these tools collecting data in the field, and they found useful the stuff that you are developing. This is something that you plan in your way. You need to figure it out. How I can generate an impact, how I can apply my knowledge of whatever I am doing to reach people, to develop products that people can use every day, and try to like improve people's lives, you know. So this is my PhD project basically I'm working now. So I'm using a geophysical tool that is called ground penetrating radar. This is a technology that NASA is also using in the Perseverance robot in Mars, monitoring water and try to identify like what is going on in the Mars surface. So we are using the same technology to identify how roots are growing, which is like a huge impact in the world of agriculture and food security. So this is a multi-interdisciplinary project because you need to know about geophysics, be able to analyze the data, and understand how this technology works. But you also need to have some knowledge about agriculture to identify why this kind of solution is important for farmers and people that were in agriculture. But also, you know how to get data, put something together, and get some results from that can be meaningful and or can represent something for people that were in the agriculture context. So the reason why I am showing this is because I just basically try to show you how I end working in open source and how this helped me to generate an impact in such a way that, for instance, now I am a Google developer expert because that. So this is one of the project that I started working on it. So one of the advice that I can give it to you guys is like, if you want to start into the open source world, just whatever project that you are working on, even if it's just like a homework, you know, like just 10 classes, do a lot of stuff, you know, code, all of these things. So just think about it like, you know, like even if you think that probably that's not gonna happen, so just try to stand up your Git repositories. Put all your code, all your homeworks, all your assignments that because you don't think that someone is gonna find out this useful, but sometimes people actually use it, you know. And this is actually what happened with two of the tools that I developed. So I remember that I was writing a paper for detect banana diseases in using deep learning. So I found myself with the need of developing an annotation tool, and also to kind of like facilitate the training of the machine learning model. So this is why I am developing myself these two tools, CVS Studio and Falcon CV. CVS Studio is a graphical annotation tool to add different computer vision tags. You basically can load your images there and annotate the images, and your data set gonna be ready to go for training. So, and I just decide myself, okay, I think that since like this tool was very useful for me, so people probably are looking for something similar. So why don't just put it there in my GitHub repository and try to like document it in a way that someone else can use it and can like get something meaningful from that. So this is how I started working on it with CV Studio. Then I jumped into Falcon CV, and these were two other projects that I actually like right now help me to introduce myself into the open source world. So then I've also worked into this project, Rigging.js. I'm probably gonna show you later on this project, how that works. And so eventually, like I get a lot of attention from people in Google also that, that right now is kind of like supporting the community and trying to kind of motivate the community to develop this kind of solutions. And this is one of the tools also that I helped me to start and jump into the open source world. But let's discuss about what is open source. So we're gonna get into this movement and how actually that works. So, but I would like to you guys heard this short video about where you guys can find like more information about that and get a better idea of how this movement actually like is going on. So let me give me like one moment. So I think that is because I need to share all my screen here. Okay, I think that now it should work.
Open source is a movement. It's a model for
Can you guys see my screen and be able to listen the video?
making
Yeah,
and
it's good.
Okay, good.
Open source is a movement. It's a model for making and sharing content and software in a way that lets you build collaboratively and publicly. This is how we at Mozilla think about open source in our projects and in our communities.
Open source means that I can see what's going on in my computer whenever I'm running a particular program. So I know what it's doing, I know how it's doing it.
Having the ability to control the software that you're using so that it does what you want and you can change it to serve whatever purposes you need it to serve.
Open source means that other people can use your work and share freely.
I can contribute back to the project. I can make my changes, make some improvements and propose them to the original author.
Open source allows you to step into a group, say, I don't know, and someone will come and offer you guidance and their insight. You learn with another person beside you, even though you might be worlds apart.
It's a strong opportunity for to reduce the digital gap between developed country and developing countries. So it's kind of bring everyone together.
Lots of people think that when their stuff is on GitHub, it's automatically open source. Just because it's on GitHub doesn't make it open source. You also need to have the correct open source license that lets it be used and remixed by other people.
I love the community that can form around open source. I like the idea that someone can just put an idea out there in source code and a community can form around making that source code better.
If I want to develop my own software, I'm not alone.
So I really dig that you're not really just thinking about your own successes, you're thinking about the successes of the community around you.
One of my favorite open source projects is called Whimsy. It's an add-on for Firefox. And because it's open source, anyone around the world can find a GIF they love and add it to Whimsy.
There's this great tool called Abstract that allows you to treat design as code.
I really like the email client, Mutt, because it lets me get through a lot of email without too much pain.
Open Data Kit is a open source mobile data collection software.
I have a soft spot for Firefox because that's what I work on for a living.
Whenever you have diverse groups working on a project, you get different voices, different opinions, you see problems you wouldn't have seen before, and you reach a broader group of people with whatever you're trying to build.
But when you're a collective of individuals struggling and learning and achieving the same goals, you better buckle up because anything is possible.
Cool.
Open source
So with this video, I hope you guys have a better understanding about what is open source, and then we're gonna start going into more the details, and we're gonna give you and provide you some advice on how to get it started, and also about what are the advantages of work and start like getting involved into open source projects. So in the video, they discuss about a movement to create impact. So this is what I have been basically discussing, you know, like with open source, you have the chance that show up what you are doing and share that with the world. But on the top of that, you can somehow improve the people life with the kind of tool that you are developing. Even if you are focused in a specific group, what I mean is like even if you are developing a tool, in my case, for instance, I'm developing tools for people that work in agriculture. So I all the time am trying to find myself how I can generate an impact, how I can develop tools that going to facilitate the farmer's life, how they can actually improve the process and the things that they need to do in the daily basis, because agriculture in my case is about food security, and this is an important tip for the world. So it doesn't mean that you guys can not like work in a non-profit like a organization or anything like that, but my point with this and when I want to, the reason why I wanted to highlight a movement to create impact is because you guys can use your knowledge and all the stuff that you have learned so far in your academia for generate impact in the world. And the best way to do it is sharing what you are doing with everyone, you know? So obviously just be careful about you need to be careful about your intellectual property, but just try to create like a boundary between what I can share with the world and how I can somehow help other people or what I can use for my stuff or whatever I am doing. So this is very important, generate impact. And in this point in your career, if you are a student, this can be like a really good thing, because even if you guys decide to go to the academia and go for a master or for a PhD, or if you decide to go to the industry, one of the first things that you guys are gonna find out is when you are in the middle of the interview, is very common that someone can ask you about like, show me what you have done so far, and having like a having your GitHub repository in a way that people can use the stuff that you are building. So this can help a lot during the process. And open source doesn't mean necessarily that you need to contribute in like a really big project, you know, like I understand. Actually, if you guys gonna want to get in started in this world, you can even like start building things by yourself, you know, even if you don't feel comfortable, you have to go into like try to you know, like working issues. And for instance, if you want, I am passionate about working with AI, machine learning, all of this kind of thing, you know, like, but if I don't feel myself comfortable, or if you guys feel comfortable about going and try to contribute with TensorFlow, because it's, you know, like the code base is huge and you probably can feel intimidated. So why don't know, let's try to check what I'm doing in a way that people can use it. And this is actually what open source means, is sharing what you are doing, sharing the code, sharing your projects, sharing like your ideas with that somehow can generate impact. Even in a short, it could be like either in a short period of time or even in the future, you know. So open source is also about community building. It's pretty good when you kind of like start getting people interested in your project and around like that stuff that you are building. So a community start growing up. And this is what's happened generally with any open source project. So you start working in that project, and someone else found that project useful, and that person start contributing. and eventually like the number of people that get interested gonna start growing on and growing on. And so you don't think about it that, but what you are doing is what is happening is you are building a community. So, and what is the advantage of this? First, you can learn from others and improve your skills by reviewing other people's code, which this is a really important skill that you guys need to start working on it. You know, like sometimes when we are so isolated and we work by ourselves and don't share our code or what we are doing with other people, it's pretty common that we can feel intimidated, like when we go to the industry and work in big groups where everyone is working somehow collaboratively, you know. So this is one of the good things about like working with open source, learn from others. You can put your idea out there and the community will get together to work on it. This is another cool thing. So just put whatever you have there. So you think that probably nobody can going to like pay attention about that, but eventually something Google it like exactly what you are doing, and this your GitHub repository gonna show up, and eventually they're gonna start like getting interested into the project. What else? Like diversity is another important aspect, you know, like working with other people, you know, like know or like heard what other people think about the project that you are working on. This is help a lot, not only to improve your skill, but also like to get your project better. And this is another fun thing, like broken others people code. This is gonna happen. This is gonna happen either way. So don't feel afraid about like the start contributing in open source project, because there are different mechanisms. It doesn't mean like if you clone one of those repositories, like you want to start working and you try to implement something and it doesn't work, it doesn't necessarily mean that that code base is gonna be broken. This is not how that works. You know, like GitHub is designed in a way that everyone could work. You know, making sure that the base code and the functionality of the software that what you are working on is gonna keep stable and gonna keep running. So what else? So make the software you use better. The ability to control the software that you are using and make it that once you want according to your needs. This is a really cool thing too. You know, you can develop in a software and you just basically can decide what do you want to do with it, you know, or if there is any particular tool that you are using open source, but you would like to add on the top of that like a specific functionality that somehow help you to do something else, you can actually go and contribute and put that functionality into that software. You know, this is what people generally does. So if you are working in a I'm working, for instance, using OpenCV to analyze or processing images, for instance, but I found myself that one of the algorithms that I wanted to use is not there. Well, why not try to implement by myself and somehow contribute with the software, you know? So I can actually help that software get better and get more useful and add more functionalities. And eventually this is going to generate an impact because someone else can use that stuff that you're building on the top. So what else about the open source? Impact and inspire other people's life. So serve open source means that other people can use your work and share freely with the world. So build software that help other people. What I mentioned before, you know, like you are developing software for the that could somehow help to the people facilitate a specific task, you know. So that's mean that somehow you are generating impact in the other people's life, and it doesn't necessarily mean that need to be all the work get interested into your project, but this of people of that group of people that get interested into your project found themselves that your project somehow it can help them to do the job that they are like were looking for, you know. So it's an opportunity to reduce the digital gap between undeveloped and developed countries. This is very true. You know, like generally what happened is undeveloped countries, you know, like we tend to see them like a consumer of the technologies. And when we start contributing with the open source, somehow we are changing this gap between, you know, like undeveloped and undeveloped countries. This is another video that I wanted to share. It was a pretty good video because this was an initiative of Git, where they actually like storage basically all the code space of a bunch of different projects in GitHub. And so just imagine that they make like a huge backup, and especially because what I have been mentioning, like everything around us, you know, like the autonomous driving, all of this kind of stuff. So they are basically supporting an open source technologies. And so this is why they come with this initiative when they create this like a huge storage when they put the code. And this was something like was pretty cool. Let me show you pretty quickly this video.
In the Arctic Circle, an archipelago covered in ice, Svalbard, home to the northernmost town in the world, to thousands of polar bears. And it is here you can find the global seed vault. Millions of seeds have been sent here from across the globe for secure long-term storage in cold and dry rock vaults. Just down the road is a decommissioned coal mine that has taken on new life. This is where we will protect open source software for future generations. Deep within the permafrost layer, which can stretch up to 400 meters thick, we will store the world's open source software on silver halide film. The data is encoded on frames with 8.8 million pixels each and designed to last over 1,000 years. In our initial deposit, we archive thousands of the world's most depended on open source projects. The work of hundreds of thousands of developers from around the world. We will return next spring, during the perpetual light of the midnight sun, to deposit every active public repository on GitHub for safekeeping in the GitHub Arctic Code Vault.
And what they actually did was just basically do this huge backup of all the bunch of different code repositories and in the GitHub, and they put it there in this kind of storage. I'm just gonna try to know how to move this thing. So, and they actually give, so for that people that got the chance to get the code back up in that team, so that they give you this kind of like achievement. So it's actually was pretty inspiring that, for instance, for me, when I saw that, it was really nice to see that 2 of those projects were in that code vault that they built to protect the open source software. And the reason why they did it is because what I'm saying, all the world, all the things around us that run software on it, most of them somehow use open source software. And this is why like my invitation with this talk is about like don't feel scary about like I start contributing or even just like making your projects open source and start putting and sharing with the other people the stuff what you are doing, because someone else can be useful and so how you can impact people's life. So let's discuss now about some myths respect to open source. You know, like many people think that when there is stuff on GitHub, she already explained that, but it's basically some people think that all the stuff that is in GitHub is open source, and it doesn't necessarily means that. So you basically need to come with the right license to let know other people that your project can be used for either commercial purpose or just for academia purposes or you know, like for anything else. So open source is like secured and proprietary software is another like myth. You know, people tend to think like because it's open source, so that means that it could be like a lot of issues or this kind of stuff, but this actually happen with any software. It doesn't necessarily happen with open source. You know, software, you know, by nature generally have issues, and but the good thing about the open source is that there is a lot of people, there is a huge community working on it, and sometimes it's even like it's even faster to get support like working with open source software, where you can actually go to the GitHub, post the issue that you are having. You know, imagine that you are using like a Python library and something show up, or you get like a weird error and you don't know how to deal with that. You can actually go to the community, you know, because you can think about GitHub like this community about like developing software, and then you can actually ask them for like help to implement that or fix that issue for you, while like using commercial software. So you can actually go for like you know, like to me like a support case of all of this kind of stuff. So that's mean this is like not really happen. This is not actually how that works. So open source is difficult to maintain also. This is another myth. But what I mentioned, so there is a lot of people working in the open source project, and this actually made that the maintain of the. So basically, what I wanted to tell is like a open source project actually like keep going because there is a lot of people trying to fixing the issues, trying to contribute it to get the software better, and this actually make the software easier to maintain. With the commercial software, you generally expect like a new release come to be able to use all of these features that you would like to have. So while open source, even if nobody want to work in that feature that you are trying to implement, you can do by yourself, and you can submit like a pull request, and then people that is behind of this code repo, they can just merge that into the base code. So what I should consider, this is a really good idea for you guys to contribute into open source projects first, because you can get involved into social meaning projects. So that means that you can work with other people developing products. And this is what I put here, that is basically developing the software from the community to the community. So you're somehow working in social meaning projects. You will get much deeper knowledge about software development because you are working with other people and not only by yourself, trying to figure out how to fix something. And reviewing, something that I have found myself is like reviewing other people's code. So it can help me to improve my skills because I can learn from others. You know, I can, oh, this is really cool what this guy did here. So I can apply that into my stuff. So also it helps your reputation and can leverage your career, because somehow if you have like few repositories that you have some experience contributing with open source projects. So people that in the industry, they will know that you are able to work with other people developing software, and that you can also deal with the other people code and this kind of stuff. Yeah, that's pretty fair. So this is another really cool thing about the working with open source projects. And this can be very beneficial for your career because, again, if you're gonna go to an interview or something, and so they're gonna ask you like, hey, this will be nice if you can show me what you have done, and you can just show your code repositories and say, well, this is a very interesting project that I work on it, and now it's open source, some people is working on it, and I remember when I get one of my first start in one of the code repository that I found, because basically how that works is like when people start getting interested in your projects, they're gonna kind of like, like this kind of starts in the code repository, like somehow tell you that there are some people that found that code useful. So it was like a really nice it was like really encouraged to me to keep working in that project. So you will learn how to work collaboratively with other people. It's fun and give you personal satisfaction because what I mentioned. What else? It could save you the stress of the following technical interviews. So last time I found on YouTube, like one guy talking about his experience working in DeepMind, and someone asked him about like how he got a job in DeepMind as a machine learning engineer, and he said that he actually didn't go to the interview or anything like that, because what he did, he just basically interested in one of the DeepMind project, and he started contributing on that. And eventually someone from the company found that that guy was pretty active contributing with that project, and say, hey, you just want to come and work with us? We feel like what you are doing is helping us a lot, so would you like to join us? And this is how he actually how he got into this position to work with DeepMind. So this is another really cool thing about working with open source. And it's fun. Your projects are kind of like your children. You develop like a project, and you need to keep your project going. So you need to like keep adding more stuff, trying to like be active and fix those issues that other people report and these things. So just basically you're gonna keep going with that project forever. So then let's talk about how to get in a start. Well, this actually depends on the kind of project that you want to work on, your interest. If you are like machine learning stuff, you can just try to find some entry level projects where you can somehow start like gaining some experience working with the applying machine learning concepts. So this is another really cool video, pretty short, that I would like to share with you guys.
What do you mean, what is GitHub? It's the largest, most complete development platform in the world. Millions of developers use it.
Well, so before the project starts, so the reason why I change this video is because some of you probably are asking yourself like how I can get in a start. Well, so before was a little more complicated because having platform like a GitHub it didn't exist by them, but right now GitHub is like a really good open source code platform where you can actually like put your code there and share with other people and this kind of stuff. So this is one of the really cool tools that you have. So now you basically have everything to get in started. Just go there, trying to find those code repositories that are related somehow with the stuff that you are doing or that you are getting interested on. And you basically pick one of those repositories and you start working on it. I'm just gonna show like a quick demo before the presentation end, but this is how it actually works. Just think about like a GitHub, like a database with a bunch of projects out there. So based on your interest, just go and pick one of those and start just even helping with the documentation. This is a huge contribution, So they're gonna appreciate so much. You just like spend some time trying to find typos or just like adding more stuff or more demos or more code into the documentation. So that's mean that this is actually a really good way to start contributing, because you don't really need to get into the code base, because this could be intimidating when you start working with open source projects. So just working in documentation or like, so this can actually help you to, like feel more comfortable to working in that particular project. So, and this is just like a video that can give you a better idea. What is GitHub? What is the main objective behind of this platform, and how this could be the tool that you guys need to getting started into the world and jump into the open source world.
It's the largest, most complete development platform in the world. Millions of developers use it. And it's not just developers. These days, every company is a software company. I thought you might say that. Come on, let me show you. GitHub is an enterprise transforming, startup launching, community driven, super secure, open source championing, cloud-based platform. It's where the world builds software.
We created algorithms and global businesses,
We even went to Mars.
or at least our code did.
Oh, yes. With GitHub, anything is possible. But how? Say this is Sanam, a senior software engineer, and this is a team's project on GitHub. Sanal and the team can create their own branches of code to work together in parallel.
This is my branch, an alternate timeline where I can build, squash bugs, and safely experiment. There are communication and task delegation tools right next to my code. So when we're ready to merge, we merge instantly.
It works with thousands of branches for over 1 million projects.
And with built-in project planning, automation, CI/CD, and AI-enhanced code editing at every step.
You can move fast and get your ducks in a row. But we've got to be safe about it.
GitHub has advanced security with automatic vulnerability detection, secret scanning, and more. So we can build and ship safely and securely.
So now you know what GitHub is, you might wonder who GitHub is. It's a student learning to code. It's disruptors revolutionizing music. It's a CEO transforming a global company. It's 21,000 strangers working together to take the first picture of a black hole. It's a place for anyone from anywhere to build anything. Anything you think the world needs. What's that?
Well, so this is basically what I wanted to share with you guys. And I highly encourage you to, I'm gonna give you some tips to close the presentation. How to get started into the open source world. So first, make your GitHub code repos stand up. Just gonna show a few demos of my code repo that can help you to understand how that should work. So one of the projects that I put here, the highlight, I put them because I had to spend some time working in the documentation, I have tried to put some picture about how the software works, how it can be installed, how it can be used. Always give the credits if you use code base from someone else. Like a way to respect the people in the community. It's another tool. This is the other project, Region.js, that I mentioned about when I used TensorFlow.js to. This is just like a fun project that I found myself I wanted to work on it. And I just start just wanted to learn how to use machine learning in JavaScript, and I did this, and I just put it there, and I didn't expect a lot of people started getting interested and asking about different things, making pull requests, doing some feature requests, and some of the repository have some. You're gonna find some of the issues that is called God first issue, good as a first issue. which mean that are those kind of things that doesn't require so much so much knowledge about the code base, and you can start go and support them. You know, if you want to, for instance, contribute with open source with the TensorFlow, for instance, you can go here and the issues, and you can try to find you know, like someone that is not like that hard, you know, and try to work on it, you know, like, and this is how actually that's works. Just clone the repository, pick one of those issues, try to see if you can fix it, or you can try to somehow come with a solution, make a pull request, and people in TensorFlow are going to check it that actually works, and go through all of the tests that they run on and the code base, and they just basically merge with the code base. This is one of the things. The other stuff is like follow good practices while you work on your personal projects. You never know for who you are building or who's gonna use your code. So it's pretty common that we are coding, but we never document or function or scripts or anything. So even us, when we get back after like a few years to try to run the code, we are not able to because we completely forgot about what that code was about. And it's because we don't really follow like good practices. So that's mean that everything that you build, just try to follow good practices, because you never know who's gonna use that thing, you know? Things about your project being used by other people. Don't think about this is my homework and I'm gonna submit that and that's it. So just think about this thing that I am building. Eventually someone can use it, and you know, and that's it. So one of the projects that I can show you about. So it was a homework for one of the classes in my PhD. Let me show you very quickly here. Very quickly here, and I can give you an example about. This is one of the homework that I needed to submit. It was like a remote sensing project. So we build like the robots, we run we train the reinforcement learning algorithms. We do all the platform, and so we made sure that we document the code pretty well, that we can actually open source and other people can use it. You know, so even if it was just like a homework. So this is pretty important for you guys to consider yourself. So other thing is like invest time documenting your code, what I'm saying, to make this process enjoyable and follow out the bottom-up approach. Bottom-up approach is like if you want to contribute in a code-based repository like a TensorFlow or any kind of library or whatever software you guys want to contribute. So start with the issue that are easy to go through, you know, like documentation or this. Don't go to the more complicated stuff, because generally those require to have like a deep knowledge about the code base, and to know the code base pretty well, you generally need to take some time to go to the code and actually understand what is going on. So don't be shy to interact with other people and ask for help. This is why GitHub is out there, because it's a community behind of what you are doing. So that means that you can actually go and interact with other people and talk about, hey, do you think that this could be a good approach for like try to solve this issue? And I know that some people are gonna be happy to help you. Pick a project that you're familiar with. So just if you have been working for a long time with a specific library, framework, or using, you know, developing mobile application or forever. So be one of those tools that you use every day because you feel more comfortable working on it. Encourage your friend to work with you on it. So generally when you work with other people in same thing, so you feel more kind of happy and more motivated about like working on that. So so this could be like a good thing to like invite one of your friends to start contributing in an open source project, and find a mentor for organizations that support open source initiatives. One of the really good initiatives right now that Google's recently actually released a call is called a Google Summer of Code. So I highly recommend you guys go to the website and and check about this. This can be very useful for you guys to get in started into the open source.
What do you really know about open source projects?
Have you ever wondered what it's like to work on a project with an organization like Apache,
GNOME,
KDE,
Eclipse?
or hundreds more?
Google Summer of Code is a mentorship program
that brings programmers like you
together with great mentors and awesome open source projects?
You'll spend your summer coding on a real world project.
Potentially used by millions of people all over the world.
Mentors like us will introduce you to our diverse global community, providing a one-of-a-kind experience and help you succeed. As a successful participant in Google Summer of Code, you'll receive a stipend.
So you can focus on your coding project.
You'll meet new people,
develop new skills.
And have a lot of fun.
I'm Matthew Welks.
My name is Aaron.
My name is Candela.
My name is Robert.
My name is Clément David.
My name is Terry Oda.
I'm Bodhan Gupta. My name is Rish van Pisk.
My name is Avik Basu.
My name is Dia.
My name is William Coldwell.
We are Google Summer of Code mentors.
Go to d.co/gsoc to learn more.
You guys can Google Summer of Code, and recently they released the course, so you can actually apply right now. And basically how that works is you just go and go to all of the organizations. There are different topics there, like data, AI, operating systems, different tools, and you can apply to work in the project that those organizations work, and you can take this kind of like an internship opportunity, you know. For instance, if you want to go like remote sensing stuff of these kind of things, OpenStreetMap, work and develop tools for these kind of things, so you can go and check what is the ideas list, and you can have a better understanding. So what is the knowledge that you need to have in order to work on those projects? For instance, they say they need to have someone like know about React.js, and anyways, you can just jump there and start like looking for one of those projects that they show up there, and you know, start working on and start the application. So this is basically what I wanted to share with you guys. I hope these tips help you to know how to get started with the open source, and also gain some experience or develop like an idea about how you can generate impact working in open source project, and how this can be beneficial from your career and your future. And this sound like some tool that you can check after this, you know, like open source, open world, Google open source, which can help you also to learn more about it and how to go in deep into this stuff, you know. And this is my information. My email is here in the link that I just put it here. This is my Twitter. I don't really use Twitter so often, but you guys can contact me in LinkedIn or by email if you have any questions. But I am pretty much interested with any open source project. So if you want to reach me out, just send me a message, and I'm gonna be happy to have a good discussion about this. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that. Does anybody have any questions for Henry? Okay, if there are no